everyone. Today we're going to be looking at part 2 of the average video series. We already did part 1 where we discussed what average was, the basic questions in average, so how to find the average, how to find the sum given the average and the group of numbers, as well as how to find individual numbers out of your group if you know the average and the other numbers in the group. So all of that is discussed in part 1 of the video, and you need that baseline knowledge to be able to understand these questions in part 2. So if you haven't seen part 1, go watch it now. I will link it in the description. I will also link it in a card above. So you can go and take a look at that and then come back to part 2 if you have not. Right, so if you have watched part 1, let's just get into part 2, which involves some more challenging questions and questions that require a little bit more steps. Question 1. Question 1 says 6 boys have an average weight of 70 kilograms. 1 boy is added to the group and the average weight increases to 72 kilograms. So what is the weight of the added boy? Okay, so this question has a lot of working parts. 1 boy being added to the group now, the average changing. So what do we do here? Well, if you recall from the first video, average is the sum of numbers in a group divided by the numbers in a group. That is a little bit tricky to work with if you're looking at people being added onto that group. So instead of the average, what we can actually work with is the sum. Now in the last video, we also discussed how to find the sum, but I'll remind you, you multiply the average by the number of numbers. So in this case, what we initially start off with is 6 boys that have an average weight of 70 kilograms. So what would be their total weight, or the sum of their weights? So let's say the sum of 6 boys, well, their weights, right, the sum of their weights, that's going to be the average, which is 70 kilograms, multiplied by the number of boys, which is 6 boys. Right, in this case, we get 420 kilograms as the sum of these 6 boys. What we're going to look at now is what happens when the 7th boy joins the group. The average increases to now 72 kilograms. So now we have 7 boys with an average of 72 kilograms. So let's actually find out their sum. So the sum of 7 boys, that's going to be 72, the average, multiplied by 7, not 6, 7, because we now have 7 boys. So the sum before was 420 kilograms. Now let's take a look at what the sum is. We have 2 times 7 is 14, carry the 1, and 7 times 7 is 49, and 1 is 50 kilograms. So our sum before was 420, and our sum now is 504. So how do we find the 7th boy? Well, if the sum went up from 420 to 504, the 7th boy would be the difference between those two numbers. So the weight of the 7th boy, or the added boy, would now be 504 minus 420. And again, you can do this calculation vertically if you need to, but the answer here is 84 kilograms. 84 kilograms. Right, so that is the weight of the boy that was added to the group. 84 kilograms. So let's move on to question 2. All right, question 2 says 4 girls have an average of 15 stamps in their collection. 1 girl leaves the group and the average decreases by 3. How many stamps did the girl who left have? Okay, so let us look at finding first the total stamps that the 4 girls have. Right, so let's say the sum of 4 girls. Right, again, that's going to be the average multiplied by the number of girls, so 15 times 4. So they have a total of 60 stamps among them. That is, if you add up all 4 girls' stamps, all 4 girls' stamps in their collection, you will get 60 stamps, right? One girl leaves the group now. So instead of 4 girls, one is leaving. Before one joined, one is leaving now. So we will now have 3 girls in the group, right? And the average is going to decrease by 3. So let's find that average. The average decreases by 3. So what does it mean for a number to decrease by 3? Well, you will subtract 3 from the average. The average, 15, decreases by 3. So we'll do 15 minus 3, and we'll have now an average of 12. So these 3 girls have an average of 12 stamps. So if they have an average of 12 stamps, what would be the sum? The sum of the 3 girls. That's going to be the average, 12, multiplied by the number of numbers, 3, to give me 36. Okay, maybe I should name this statement new average, right? The old average was 15, the new average now is 12. So the sum of the 3 girls will be 36. The sum of the 4 girls is 60. So the girl that left is going to have 60 minus 36. I'm going to just say that statement quite literally. Girl that left equals 60 minus 36, right? Because the total, or the sum, decreased from 60 to 36. So the girl that left took all those stamps with her. She took 60 minus 36, which is 24 stamps with her. And there is your answer for question 2. Girl that left had 24 stamps. Let's move on to question 3. Question 3 now says, the average age of a group of 7 boys is 2 years old. One boy joins the group and the average age doubles. How old is the boy that joins? Right, so this is very similar to question 1 and question 2. We're just doing different things with the average. So let's first thing off the bat, let's just find the total of those 7 boys. Right, so sum of 7 boys, that's the average 2, multiplied by the number of boys, which is 7. So the total age, when we add up the ages of the 7 boys, we get 14 years, right? That's their sum. Okay, now it says one boy joins the group and the average age doubles. So let's find the new average. New average is going to be the old average. If it doubles, the old average is 2. We got to multiply that by 2 because it doubles, right? When you double a number, you just multiply it by 2. You get 4. The new average is now 4. And how many boys do we have now? Well, it says one boy joins the group. So now we have 8 boys. So 8 boys have an average of 4. So let's find the sum of those 8 boys. The sum of 8 boys is going to just be 4, the average, multiplied by the number of boys, which is 8. Right, so their sum is now 32 years. Okay, so if the sum increased from 14 to 32, the boy that joined, or the added boy, would be 32 minus 14. So you can kind of see the routine, right? 32 minus 14, that gives us 18 years old. So my answer, the boy that was added, or the boy that joined the group, would be 18 years old. Right? You can kind of see the routine. Find the old sum, find the new average, find the new sum, find the difference. And that gives us whoever was added, whoever was removed. Let's move on to question 4 now. All right, let's take a look at question 4 now. We have Kimberly's average score in 3 mathematics tests is 73. She needs at least a score of 80 in 4 tests to obtain a grade A. What is the minimum mark Kimberly must obtain in her 4th mathematics test to get a grade A? This one seems just a bit different from the others, but it's actually the same procedure. Instead of working with a total that we have when somebody either joins or leaves the group, we are now working with a total that we want to achieve. So it's the same premise, it's the same concept, right? Let's start off with finding her sum in the 3 mathematics tests. So let's say sum in 3 tests. Of course, that's going to be the average, 73, multiplied by the number of tests that she took, which is 3, right? Here we have 3 times 3 is 9, and 7 times 3 is 21. So 219, right? That's her total. If you added up the 3 scores, you would get 219. Now she needs at least a score of 80 in 4 tests. So required score, so required, let's say required score, required, let's say total or sum, right? The required sum, if she needs at least an average score of 80 in 4 tests, right? She is going to need 80. Her sum in the 4 tests must be 80, at least 80 by 4, right? And that is going to give me 320. So her total needs to go from 219 to 320 in order for her to have at least that average, that 80 average in those 4 tests. Okay, so if her sum needs to go from 219 to 320, what mark does she need to get? So the minimum mark will be 320 minus 219, which is 99. Alright, Kimberly needs to get 99 in that 4th math test. At least a 99 to get a grade A. She has a lot of studying to do, but note, if she gets 99, she's going to get the 80 average, but if she gets 100, she can also meet her grade A, right? Because if she gets 100, then her average is actually going to be a little bit above 80. It might be 80 point something, right? She's going to get a little bit above 80, and she will still get that grade A, right? So that's why 99 is the minimum mark. Okay, right? So this one was a little different, but as you can see, it's still the same concept, right? We have a total that we want to get to, so we just find the difference to see how many, in this case marks, how many marks we need to make up. So this was question 4. Let's move on to question 5. Okay, question 5 says, a delivery man delivers an average of 4 packages in 7 hours. By the end of his 8-hour day, he would like to have delivered an average of 5 packages per hour. He's almost there. How many packages must he deliver in his 8th hour of work to reach this target? Again, this is like question 4, right, where we have a total that we want to achieve, or in this case, an average that we want to achieve, which is basically the same thing, right? We're going to find the total that we have now and the total that we want to have, and then just find the difference. So the total now, the delivery man delivers an average of 4 packages in 7 hours. So the sum in 7 hours, that's going to be the average, which is 4, multiplied by total, well, the number of hours, sorry, which is 7. So 4 times 7 is 28, right? So the delivery man delivers a total of 28 packages in those 7 hours. But what does he want to deliver by the 8th hour, by the end of his 8-hour day? So he would like to have delivered an average of 5 packages per hour at the end of his 8-hour day, which means that the sum in 8 hours, is going to be the average, which is 5, the average that he wants to have by the number of hours he has, which is 5 times 8, that is 40. So his sum needs to go from 28 to 40. How many packages does he need to deliver in his 8th hour? If his sum needs to go up from 28 to 40, then how many more packages does he need? 40 minus 28, which is 12 packages. Right? So that answer, he needs to have delivered 12 packages in his 8th hour. And that is part 2 of the average series. I hope you learned something. I hope it was understandable in this video. If you are having trouble grasping any of these concepts, remember you can always pause, you can always replay, you can take notes, try to figure out why I'm doing what I'm doing, listen to my explanations over and over and over again. That is the beauty of a video like this, is that you can replay it and you can hear that explanation again, right? So these were questions that would typically come up in your S.E.A. exam. Now, of course, there are many different ways that an average question can reveal itself. But this video is really just intended to give you a framework for understanding when someone joins or leaves a group, a number is added or removed, how we would work with that. And it's really just to work with the sum of the group versus the average, right? The sum is a little bit easier to see. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this, hope you learned something, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, everyone.